latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Telling you guys a bit of a review video on a brand new driveway awning from Kampa. So with me today I've got the Kampa Sprint Air. So the Kampa Sprint essentially is a little bit of a crossover, should we say. So what kind of Kampa essentially have done is took their kind of bream-free design and put it on for a camper van. So it's a really quite nice concept. It's something that we've known that's worked well in terms of its design for over probably 10 years now. So it's quite a nice small compact driveway awning designed for the small lower vehicles like your VWs or your Ford Customs or anything along that kind of ilk really. So what we've got is something that's quick, easy and simple to pitch. You can check out our own Attwoolls pitching and packing video. Took me the best part, I think 8-9 minutes to pitch the whole thing on my own, which makes it perfect kind of for short stays for touring use, or if you want to go for a little bit longer, then obviously you can still quite happily handle that. Small and compact in terms of its overall package size and also its kind of pitch size itself. So what we've got really is essentially a kind of an inflatable awning. So you've got two inflatable tubes located at the front and the back. The valve is quite nice and easily accessible from here, so you inflate and deflate from that, as you can see from our pitching video. And then you've just got a little fiberglass brow pole just to give you a bit more rain shelter at the front of the door itself. Kampa have really used their kind of 68D 3000mm high strut head, so it's a really nice kind of waterproof leveled material, but still quite durable, but not necessarily too heavy in terms of its weight. So they've kind of tried to really create a bit more of a sweet spot between weight and spec. In its main body, it's around about sort of 1.5 meters. So it's quite a small, compact design. You've got a ground sheet with toggles in, toggles out. In terms of its connection ability, so as we said, it's more for smaller vans like we have here. It's got a height range from about 180 to 210, so it depends on where you fit in that range. Multiple ways of actually attaching it to the van as well. For me, I've actually used a fixing kit and use it onto a normal C-rail. Again, if you had a wind-up one, you can connect it directly into that as well via a fixing kit. Saying that, if you've got no rail at all, you've got throw over guide points, you can literally lob over the top of the van and pull that tunnel section tight up to the van itself. Failing that, you've also got a little kind of sleeve located there, so you can feed a sort of pole into it and clamp it into a gutter or a reamer rail. And finally, there's little Velcro tabs right at the back there to allow you to Velcro onto a roof rack, so you can kind of pick and choose what method you want to. The Tonneau Door is quite smart, and actually what you find is that you've got one on just this one side here as well, so it allows you to enter into the van without going through the awning every single time. I like the adjustment you've got on the actual tunnel section as well in terms of the actual fit. So we've got an external strap to get that tension really nice and taut, another little strap there to take any extra slack up. And there's also a sort of elasticated loop that runs down the tunnel, again, it's to make it look sharp even when you're on that lower end of the brackets. And it's almost like a little kind of gusset-y kind of triangle wing as well to try and get that fit a bit tighter underneath the van against a lot of draft coming from around the corner. Big crystal clear windows throughout the whole of the actual Sprint, not only on the sides where you can get great visibility, but the front panel as well. The fiberglass pole you just insert quite nice and simply. You've got its own little retainer points here, and like I said, its main kind of object really is to give you shelter when you're coming in and out of that front door, so you can happily leave the door partially open. If the rain sort of sprinkling down, you've got a bit more protection. There's a vent right at the top here as well, so you help with sort of airflow even when that door is shut. The door itself, of course, you can open up, and located directly behind that is actually a full mesh door. So this way you can have the max amount of breathability, but not have to worry about kind of bugs and the critters coming in as well. So if I roll this door back like so, we can toggle that directly through. I'll just do a bit of a rush one for the time being. And then leaves that door in place with the two windows. Again, of course, the door can fully open up. And what you find is actually it velcros along the bottom, and you've got a little flap here. So this is basically allowing you the lip can come up to get that seal, fan out, peg down to make sure you've got no trip hazard into the actual awning itself. And again, kind of the mesh door uses the same retainer, which is expandable, onto there. Let's kind of swing the camera around a little bit to get a bit more of a better view down the barrel of the awning itself. In a way, it's almost very similar in terms of style to Kampa's model, which is the Action. The only thing I'd say with this is that the Action's got like a sloping front, which in size makes it bigger, but I think you kind of lose that space, to be honest, because with that kind of slope, there's not really much you can do with it. So for me, I think headroom height here feels a bit more, even though the floor plan's a little bit more compact, it is all completely usable space, and that's one of the joys of it. It's one of the smallest awnings Kampa do for driveway awnings, certainly for this kind of size anyway. Headroom height, I'm about 6'2", can stand at pretty much dead centre. When we get into the corners, admittedly, it's a little bit kind of a little pokey due to kind of the rounded kind of design of it itself. The ground sheet, as we can see, Archie? As you can see, the ground sheet kind of is here, that kind of goes in and out. You can actually untoggle it and lip it back. So if you want to remove the ground sheet itself, it's over there. It's over there. So the ground sheet itself, you can also remove and have it just kind of as whatever it is underneath it, the grass or the hard standing. The joys of this in many ways is that if you've got those sites that are very kind of picky and want a breathable ground sheet, then you can obviously remove it. And saying that, you've got a bit more of an overlap to it. So what you find is that actually, to be fair, it feels a bit more like a stunning ground sheet, but you have the flexibility and versatility of a kind of normal kind of removable ground sheet as such. The windows throughout the whole of the awning, as you see here, can actually have a privacy as well. So what you find is that on, say, like the front ones, they merely just kind of almost come up, Velcro into place to get that sort of seal away from it. What on the sides actually kind of toggles up kind of halfway and fully up to the top, and then all of them go down and retain themselves into a little loop. Now, on the beam itself in here, what we've got is little Velcro tabs leading up to a hanging point dead center. So you can have a lantern quite happily hanging here, or failing that here as well. And again, we've got Velcro tabs running down so you can get sort of the cable access where you see you need it to. A rear vent at the top is located here as well. And in the tunnel section, we've got a nice wide tunnel, big enough to open the sliding door without it kind of, you know, catching the fabric in the top corner. So that works out quite nicely. And again, because you've got this kind of arced kind of shape, it means it's a little bit higher in the top, so it means the water should naturally drain away. But we'll pick the camera up now and kind of have a look inside a little bit more up close with what's going on with the Sprint. So like I said, small compact size. As we kind of come in, you can see obviously it is definitely quite small, and probably enough room for maybe a table and a chair, a couple of chairs in here. But you've got obviously those clear PVC windows to get the light around the campsite, so you get a really great visibility. But you can pick and choose kind of obviously the privacy as you want to. You've got that vent located obviously at the top, and then again you've also got one in here as well. In the tunnel section, as we come directly through, we've got the van to our straight ahead. There's a blank side there, so that's really be down for storage, and actually the tunnel door itself rolls from left to right and feeds along that side. And then we've got that tunnel door which we can kind of enter in, as we kind of need to without going through the main awning itself. And then that rolls back into the awning itself quite nice and neatly. But there's the additional kind of tunnel section adjustment, and then you've got elasticated parts, and then you've got a baffle down the bottom here that kind of pegs really quite smartly to really make sure you get it underneath. Okay, I've neglected to peg that just for the moment. As we kind of come out, in fact, you can probably see the toggle points in the ground sheets there, just to give that kind of overlap. So you can quite clearly see kind of how that over goes. As we come directly out, and we'll come a bit more of a side-on view, just to try and show you kind of how far that canopy comes out in its overall depth. I think it looks quite smart, pitches really well. You know, like I said, it's not a huge amount to it, but that's one of its probably quirks anyways. We've got webbing straps down the bottom for tension, so you can kind of start by pegging those initially first. But all in all, I think it's quite a nice model. Something a little bit different, certainly from Kampa's range. It's really kind of, it's not a huge amount on the market that's sort of similar in terms of size. It's not until you get something like, the nearest thing would be something like the Van Gogh Tolga, but then in terms of spec, it's a completely different level again. You know, so I think that's quite nice where it maybe offers something a bit more price pointed, without being necessarily too big and too feature heavy. So good little model. By all means, check the link below this video. It'll take you straight through to our website where we've got more information on things like pack sizes, pack dimensions, floor dimensions, our little pitching videos there as well, along with all of the content in terms of individual features spelled out, prices, packages, whatever you can probably think about. So by all means, have a look at that. And also feel free to like the video or comment in the box below. It's always good to hear from you guys. But that's kind of our little video review on the brand new Kampa Sprint Air awning.